Jamia, Center for Narcotic Studies Center, and Policy Research, they have done a research in 4 metro cities of India, which is Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore, and Delhi. And they say that 81% of the women from the Northeast, they said that they face racial discrimination. We did in 2009, but Northeast are fine, and that time it was 86% of people say they face racial discrimination in different parts of metro cities in India. Now, the challenges that I face, of course, if we start with the film, it would have been more familiar. But anyway, now I just like to start with the cases that I have been dealing. That is, in 2009, a 5-year-old girl was brutally raped and then murdered. She was thrown inside a water tank. So now, and their parents, they packed up all their things and they left. But they say that we want justice for our daughter. And can you imagine, even till today, the family, are still waiting for justice. And what happened was, actually, they have taken up the case, and then till last year, I think around December, it was taken up to the court, but the judge said that there is no sufficient evidence to prove that the accused is guilty. The sample, everything's here, so they said everything is collected, and it's all in the disposal of the IO. And all are there, everything is there, but still they are saying that there is no proof. So the case is still going on, and I've already approached HRLN to take it up. So I think some of your lawyers are, on board and helping us for that. Now, there are some examples that I like to say. There's another girl, a 19-year-old girl. She just came to Delhi. She was quite new, for 2 weeks or so, and that is again in 2009 in Munirka. She was brutally, I don't know whether it was rape or not, because the police are saying the sexual assault is not there when they went for the post-mortem report, but you can see. But and as I experience it, even they can temper a lot, even the doctors, no matter even if they constitute a medical board, doesn't mean that they will come out with a genuine, post-mortem report. So what happened was that they said that, and the guy, the accused is, imagine, a PhD scholar from IIT Delhi. And the police are saying that he is actually a mentally deranged person. How can a mentally retarded person can be admitted in a reputed, institute like IIT Delhi? And the police are, easily saying that, come on, he's a mentally challenged person. So instead of taking care of the case, picking up the case, they are saying that we have to go for medical treatment for the accused. So till today there is no justice. I think the trial is going on, and I'm not sure if the accused is on bail or in jail. So these are something that even for the next strategy, we can think about it, how we can do and take up all these challenges. Now again, the case, the most important one was that in last year 2013, yes, May, that also actually it was HRLN who have come to our rescue and took up the case, because she was found murdered in her rented accommodation in Chirag, Delhi. And the police said that she committed suicide. Can you imagine? The injury was that, there's a spurt of blood in the nose, and the nose was gone. And the police said that, it is rats, bitten by rats. And then they said that there was some some tablets, empty wrappers in the bin. So they were saying that she must have taken, those tablets, and then she committed suicide. And after that, rats has bitten the nose. And they were saying that even the blood, the doctor cannot come out whether it is anti-mortem or post-mortem, but still they wanted to conclude. So doctor will also go by the statement of the police, because from the first place, police were saying that she committed suicide, and also rats in her nose. So till today, doctors are also standing by that. And in the first post-mortem, what happened was, this is what they could not say whether it is anti-mortem or post-mortem about injury. They could not even come out with the results of the cause of death. But then they were telling the family to take the body away. And that time, we went to the police station to lodge an FIR, and the police said she was working in a spa, and she has a boyfriend. She has an abortion. This is the thing what they told us. It's not about how she died and why the blood all over her body, because they were trying to cover up that one, because we named the brother-in-law and the house owner of the flat that she was renting. And we went to the crime spot, and you know what we did? I myself and Jina Lakshmi Nehra, we went to the crime spot, and there were around 50-30 seniors in the locality, in a small road, They came out and they threatened us by saying that if anything happens to any of our boys here, then you will know. So these are the kind of threats that even for activists like us, we face that kind of thing. And then they notice, look, they are like that. So whatever case is that there is a stereotyping that if you are a notice, then you ask for it. If I go and say I'm sexually abused and assaulted, the police will say you ask for it because of the way you look and because of the way you dress. This is the response that we get. And I think 80% of people they face this one. So they don't have trust, they don't have faith in the law enforcement anymore. That's how they refuse to go to the police. And they will say that you people are lazy, and when even you face this problem, you don't want even to come and lodge an FIR. So this is something which they turn the other way around, they turn the table on us. So now going back to Renaldi's case, what I'm trying to say was that they have already found out that there's human semen found in her undergarment. And the doctor, after that, we snatched the dead body after the first post-mortem from AIMS mortuary. And that time family were convinced by the police to take it home. But we said, no, it should not be taken. Then second post-mortem was done after the medical board was constituted. And Gayatri was saying that yes, they did a two-fingers test. It was not supposed to do even to a deceased or a alive victim, but they have done the two-fingers test by the doctor, imagine, forensic department from Maulana Azad Hospital. And they said that girl is habituated to sexually intercourse. Therefore, the two-fingers test will go easily. This is what is clearly written there in the post-mortem report. And I still have that one. So now, what happened was, and then still the case is continuing, and then the police were banging the story on a red herrings and only talking about it was transferred to the crime branch, still it doesn't work. So we have now, along with the HRL lawyers, filed a writ petition at the High Court. 6, I think, status report has been already given by the police, but till today, they could not really come out the cause of this. And then they come with all the same statement, and I think last hearing will be done very soon, and we are waiting for that. And I'm sure even her father was very sad when the dead body arrived home, and she said, my daughter, her body is here today, but her spirit is in Delhi. Until we get justice, I know her body, her spirit is not raised. This is what my father said. And again, this year in February, a 14-year-old girl from Manipur was raped in Munirka. Imagine, this was around 10 o'clock. She came out to buy some household stuff. And then the guy, the local guy, he dragged her. And it was shown there. I have seen in the CCTV footage, it was there. And he dragged her to it is a very crowded place, Munirka. And she was shouting for help. And there were many people around them, but they did not even come to her rescue. So he dragged her into an isolated place, raped her for 4 hours. And then the girl came out. And then, of course, later on, they found the relatives whom she was staying there. But you know what they said? When we took to the police station, the police said, she's mentally challenged person. She doesn't know anything. And she's also of a loose character. And even today, we were being prepared that the defense lawyer is going to character assassinate the girl. Just a minor girl, but this is what we expect. And the case is going on. She's now safe in a safe house. But still the case is going on. And I'm sure we can even network and see what can be done even for this girl. But yes, one lawyer has already taken up the case. And recently, as you know, I know that the incident in this Hazare Court. And what happened was in May 22nd, a lawyer molested a Northeast girl, she's from Nagaland, at the metro station, in DU metro station. So people came, and then the next day, 23rd, they went along with some of the representatives and leaders from Northeast. They took her to this Hazare Court for a 164 statement recording. And in front of the lady magistrate, what happened? A group of lawyers, rowdy lawyers, they swam inside the room, and then they beat up the leader who took the girl, who brought the victim. And so there was a lot of mess, chaos happening there. And then they had to run, and the lawyers came and slapped. Imagine they are in lawyers' uniform, and they slapped the guy, so he had to rush. And then the police chowki could not even protect them. But yes, they were hiding inside the magistrate room. WhatsApp was coming out to us saying, we're not safe here anymore. Even the police cannot protect us anymore. Please do something. So we're trying to send some of our volunteers, but still they did not allow to go inside. Then they were taken to some place, and there were 2 lady lawyers, advocates, then another 3-4 boys who were accompanying them. They also got all beaten up. And then the police said, now it is safe for you, so you go out. The moment they step out from there, around 30-40 lawyers, they rush in again, and then in the back, so they have to run. So most of the guys, the lady advocate told them, run, you run for your life. She was in a lawyer's dress, court and all. She thought that she will not be, they will do nothing to her. So this is what she was expecting. And she can at least defend, and she's also a lawyer. But then what they did to her was, hey Chinky, notice people are always like that. You will see today you will know that we will never see your face again in Delhi. And we will chase out all the Northeasterners from Delhi. This is what a group of lawyers said. So this, the case is still going on now. And then what happened was, we even protested. Around 2,000 people from the Northeast community came and we protested. For the Bar Council, they went there, the Bar Council of India, they protested there. But I could see, because from the video footage, that there is no remorse, there is no emotion. You can just make out from the body language of somebody, who doesn't have concern at all. So I could really make out that this is a very serious case, and even the victims are already traumatized. They were shaken that night, and when they went to lodge an FIR at the police station, the two guys came again from the bike, and they said that these are the people, so just to threaten. So these are the kind of environment situation that we are. And when we apprise even the highest authority, who are concerned for this, they will say that, look, yes, I agree that yes, all the women, we face discrimination, we face attack, crimes against women, it's really rampant, but what I'm trying to say is also that, that the kind of face that I have, when they see it, if I spy, they don't take it in the right way, but they think that I'm inviting them. So this is something that is a pattern of attack, and if you see there are 4 lakhs, Northeast population in Delhi, but the attack is too much. We have 1093 helpline which was started after Nido Tane's killing, and that we have already, till today, we have already more than 300 cases reported through WhatsApp and complaints and from the 1093. So all these things we have already did. But last year, what they said was only 60 cases from, if you go and see from their report, but we know the cases are not. So even not the example of those cases also. So these are something that we need to really look at seriously. Of course, I do have lots of things to say, but the girl, another girl, even in a 5-star hotel, she was molested in Udaipur. So she has come back here. I personally took her to the honor, and still they were not supporting her, but they were just kind of, threatening her and telling her, scolding her by saying that you are just a young girl, and why did you fight back? The security advisor called her Chinky, and then her arms were broken, and then everything, she came here for a treatment, and then still the response from the lady employer was that, why did you fight back? Because he was irritating her, and then he was trying to take advantage of her. That's how she tore the shirt of that man, and the employer was not supporting, but the way that she was responding was really, really heartbreaking. These are the kind of things that we do. How many minutes do I still have? And also, let me just mention one more, that is the domestic violence case. And I am telling you, there are a lot of cases coming to us, people from Northeast marrying a person who is outside the Northeast. And recently a case has come, a woman who was pregnant was kicked from her stomach by the husband. It is not actually normal kick, but the way that he said also, you are a backward class, you are a chinky, you are a meat eater, you are dirty, this is what, and you are jungle people. So this is what her husband told her. So I think this is something which we really need to seriously look at, because this involves racial discrimination. And as we stop on that, maybe we can show them the keep it straight.